Morning. We're going to go ahead and start our unit on software fundamentals. We're going to go through some different types of software, application softwares, and a general explanation of some of those things. So we're going to identify, words, word processing software, some spreadsheet software, presentation, and then we'll touch on database a little bit. So this should be educational for you. If nothing else, this unit will help give you a general or a broad perspective on application software. Just in case you're wondering, our class is called Introduction to Computer Application. Let's go back. I hit a button. Hit a lot of buttons. There we go. Our class is Computer Application, Introduction to Computer Applications, IBCA, and so we're actually looking at computer applications now. So we're going to take a look at also some graphics, multimedia software for this lesson right here. That's as far as we're going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and look at some of these. Guys, I want you to take a look at these vocabulary words. If you don't know them, then you need to find the ones you don't know and go look them up. Most of the presentation will include some of these, but if you don't know them, again, go look them up because you're going to need them on the test. For example, primary key, the word query. Those are things you probably don't use every day, but for this lesson, it is something that is definitely going to be something you'll need to know. Also, object is one that's probably not used a whole bunch unless you use a lot of graphics software, animation software. So those are a couple of the terms. Here's the other ones. I'm sure you're fairly familiar with spreadsheet, text editor, utility program. Yes or no? We're actually going to demo that on this presentation here today. Word processing, workbook, worksheet. I'll give you the difference on those things. So let's see here. We got, let's see, symbolically speaking. Okay, yeah. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on the intro, but bottom line is what they're saying here is that software, it cannot run by itself. For example, on your iPhone, you cannot run an app unless you have the base software, which would be like iOS 8 or iOS 7, whichever one you're running right now. So unless you have those things, the software has to sit on top of the operating system. So you can imagine if you have a problem with your operating system, software is not going to run at all. You can purchase software independent of operating systems. Obviously, you can go into the store and buy, or you can go online. No one really goes into the store to buy software anymore. But you can go online and buy things like Microsoft Word, or you can go online and buy things like Photoshop and those types of things. So one of the things about application software is sometimes it will come in suites. For example, Microsoft Office. That is called, it's called Microsoft Office Suite. But what you're actually buying is you're buying Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel. You're getting Microsoft Access database. And depending on the version you're getting, you might be getting Microsoft Outlook, which is the email program, and some of those things. So a lot of times they'll bundle them together, and those are called suites. So the first thing we're going to look at is word processing software, something you guys use and have been using for a very long time. Microsoft Office typically is the most popular word processing software out there, and it simply allows you to create, edit, print documents, do all that type of stuff. It's obviously very popular, but there are different word processing softwares out there, and that's going to be something we're going to do in class. I'll let you do a little exercise where you go and find some different ones and tell me some of the differences. Some of the features and details about word processing software is that it will support some basic text editor functions. I say, the presentation here says basic, but actually they're pretty elaborate text editing functions. You can do some pretty neat things with Microsoft Word nowadays. Word also provides you the ability to adjust and configure the options And that's what application software is typically going to allow you to do. You're going to be able to customize that application software to your needs. And let me show you an example of that. And it says right here to get to the word options, click on the Office button and all that stuff. So let me go ahead and open up Microsoft Word here. It's kind of a little miniature version of it. But if you were to click on File and go down to Options, now I'm doing, I have Microsoft Word 2013 on my computer, so it's might look a little different than yours. But there's the Word Options window. And if I wanted to change something, like, let me slide this out the way. You see this little thing up here? This is, let go. This right here is the Quick Access Toolbar. If I wanted to change that, I could click on the Quick Access Toolbar options. Let's say I wanted to, I do a lot of stuff where I add tables. So I'm going to click on Add a Table. And let's go ahead and save what I just done. And so now I should have a nice little icon that says, hey, I can quickly add a table into Microsoft Word. So anyway, this whole program is very, very, very customizable. And over the next 10 weeks, 10 and a half weeks that we have left of school, you're going to learn this thing inside and out. You will be an expert in Microsoft Word. So just to let you know that. Let's continue on. We're going to go into spreadsheets. Some of you have played around with this, but a spreadsheet simply is a row and column arrangement of data. It is a way for you to evaluate, calculate, manipulate, analyze, and present numerical data. I'll show you an example of a spreadsheet that I'm using right now to help myself stay organized. It's my roster for guys track and field. And I'll try to shrink it down so you can get a decent little picture of it. It's not letting me shrink it. Oh, I know what to do. There we go. Okay. So as soon as I can get this pulled down for you. Okay. And this is in Microsoft Excel. And as you can see, I actually don't have a lot of data on this. I'm using it more of a list for my roster, for my kids' names, just tracking them, whether they've been cleared for eligibility, all that type of stuff. But if I were doing numerical calculations, I would use the exact same program, and we're going to do some projects in our class where you're going to do that also. So with the deal of Microsoft Excel, the rows and columns, they can contain text, they can contain formulas and numbers, which they term here as values. But it sets up a grid, and where a cell and a row intersect, let me go ahead and pull this up for you. That is called, there, where a row and a cell intersect, that's called a row and a cell. Okay, this is a row, just like church pews. Church pews are in a row, they go across. Cells go up and down, sometimes, or not cells, columns go up and down, like on a house, they're columns. Where they intersect is called a cell. So this particular cell, if you look up here in the name box, it is this particular cell is D26. It goes by the column first, which is D. Now you can't see D. Let me see if I pull this up. Yeah, okay. You actually can see D now. So you see that this is D26. So top, then across. A good way to remember that, which one goes first, is think about bingo. Okay, before and after. Okay, that's how they call bingo out, the same way. So let's shrink this down, get back into our deal here. But each cell has a name, and I was just talking about that, how it can it's called by the column, then the row, and then that gives it a coordinate, which is a cell. The Excel file is called a workbook. For example, let me open this up. Maybe. Okay. This workbook is called Boys 2015 roster. Okay, it's everything that's included in this whole file. When I hit save, I am saving the workbook. Now if you look down at the bottom, there are some tabs. You can add what's called, let's see if it shows you, it might even show you. Okay, it says new sheet, but I can add a new worksheet. I'll just put sample, just title that sample right here. Okay, so now I've got 2 worksheets within this workbook. Workbook is named Boys 2015 roster. The worksheet, I have team roster, and maybe this might be my team budget. This might be team schedule if I wanted to add more worksheets. So worksheets and workbook, know the difference between those two. And just simply, as you saw even with the program that I just had up, you have the ability to add lots of different stylings and formats to the spreadsheets to help it be more understandable. Presentations, we're not going to spend a whole bunch of time on that because you guys use this so much. PowerPoint is the one for Microsoft Office Suite. It allows you to create slides, put graphics, different things like that in order to present your business or personal concepts to people. Obviously, it's got a lot of pre-designed themes and templates and things like that. You guys understand that. Effective presentation guidelines. I'm going to skip over that because that has nothing to do with our on our final or anything like that. I do want to spend some time on the database concepts. The database concepts are going to, a database, did we get over that? Okay. A database is defined as a collection of related information organized, that's the key there, it's organized in a manner that allows for rapid search and retrieval. The DBMS, Database Management System, is a software program, and it contains and provides controlled access to the data. A lot of times that access, when it says controlled access, they mean security level. I can't go and look at every student's grades in the school yet with my security level. But all that stuff is stored in a database, and I can see all of my students. So if I needed to see any of my students' grades, I can just simply pull it right up and see them. But it's controlled access. They do have a certain structure. They have all the data is set up in rows and columns, and very similar to Excel. But those columns also are referred to as fields in the records of access. So we'll get a little more in detail to that. There is something called the primary key. For example, your student ID number is probably your primary key in the Blackboard database that's used by the school board. So your student ID number, they fire that up, and it's a unique identifier just for you. So there's not going to be another student in the whole system with your student ID. So it's a quick, easy way to find you. Access to the database, well, the database is called Access, but it allows you to create objects, queries, forms, and reports. Those are terms you're going to need to know, guys. I highly recommend that you spend a little time. I would recommend going to gfcfree.org. That's the site that we use that has the database, or that has kind of the exact same stuff that's in our book in reference to the computer stuff. So bottom line with the database, you have the ability of creating tables, and it gives the process here. First thing is you create a table, then you add fields. The second step is you add the fields, and the third step you populate it and add records. It makes pretty much sense. We're going to create a small database so that you can access stuff, and you'll see how that program works. But from here, I have a little project for you guys, and I am going to do another video in reference to that project. It's going to be in reference to database, and then also in reference to Microsoft Paint. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Let's make sure. Let me finish up with this. Obviously, you can create forms from databases. Queries is the ability for you to search. You perform a query, and it allows you to search throughout the database for information. All right. I'll finish this stuff on the next video because I only have 15 minutes. So let's finish this.